We don't have a translation, sorry.
I'm sure I didn't turn it on. Oh, there we go.
You good?
I hear somebody's voice. What's that?
Главный герой женщины, в отличие от оригинала, где были прекрасные герои мужчины, и на роль секретарши, тупой блондинки, у вас пробуется прекрасный артист Крис Хемсворт. Очень современный взгляд на вещи, кому он принадлежит. Это было, не знаю, сценарий, или вы это привнесли сами, вам было интересен этот комедийный сдвиг?
Yeah, I mean, for me, as far as the Chris Hemsworth part of it, we had written, Katie Dipple and myself who wrote the script, we wanted to have the same dynamic that the original Ghostbusters had with Andy Potts playing the Janine character. But we thought it'd be funny if we kind of had them get this receptionist who just answered an ad in the paper and was sort of not really that interested in his job, and we thought we would cast one of our comedy friends in the role. And then I have the same agent as Chris Hemsworth, and the agent said, you know, Chris would like to do something in the movie if possible. And I thought, oh gosh, if we could get Thor to be their receptionist, that would be the greatest thing ever. And he very kindly agreed to do it. And we didn't originally have it scripted where he was quite so dumb, but as we started playing around with the set and the jokes and improvising and all that, it just became funnier to us. And that was, Chris was doing these jokes where he was kind of just didn't understand things, and it just took on a life from there. And the women thought he was so funny. So yeah, it was really fun to have that.
Какова реакция была героев предыдущего фильма, оригинала? Все они, кроме одного, по грустным причинам, Хэрольд Ремис больше не с нами, но оставшиеся члены оригинального каста появляются в вашем фильме в виде камео. Как они, во-первых, отнеслись к идее такого, так сказать, такой переформатировки, что ли, сериала, и легко ли удалось уломать их на появление фильма?
Yeah, they were very supportive from day one. Honestly, when I first announced publicly that I was going to just, redo the movie with a female cast, before I even announced who the cast, before I even knew who the cast was going to be, Bill Murray did an interview in which he said he thought it was a great idea, and he actually suggested I cast Kristen and Melissa in the movie. So he's been very supportive, and Dan Aykroyd has obviously been extremely supportive. He's one of our exec producers on the movie, and just having them support this so much, and Sigourney was excited about it. I think Ernie was a little nervous about it at first, but then he completely came on board, and they really wanted to do cameos. They wanted to be in the film, and since it was a reboot, we wanted to put them in roles that had nothing to do with the original movie, but that was actually more fun. I think that's how we ended up getting Bill to do it, is we put him in a role of a guy who actually doesn't believe in ghosts, who comes in to try to debunk the girls, and I think that was one of the things that lured him in. On top of the idea that he just really wanted to show his support for us because he believed in what we were doing so much. So it meant a lot to get their blessing. And they just recently, we showed them the movie, and they were over the moon. I mean, Bill Murray pulled me aside and just said, I've been nervous about this movie for 30 years, and you guys just nailed it. He said that the ladies are so good. He said by the end of the movie, he and all the original cast were just standing up and cheering. So it was really nice.
Видимо, реакция была такой, потому что вы абсолютно правильно избрали стратегию художественную, потому что, чтобы приблизиться к оригиналу, нужно как можно дальше отойти от первоисточника.
I wasn't exactly sure who I was going to cast going into it. I didn't make up my mind. I wanted Katie Dipple and I to be able to write a script and create 4 distinct new characters that could service this story and not sort of be beholden to anybody I knew. Obviously you have people in your head that you've worked with before, but really tried to clear my mind. And when I was trying to figure out who I was going to cast, I had lists and lists of people I want to work with. And some are very legitimate actors. And it was kind of like, well, yeah, they could work. And I did about 2 months of really taking pictures and kind of just comparing, just because I know their personalities and know what they can do. And actually, you'd be surprised, some of the lists I had were very, very like high-end actors, you know, who had never done comedy before. But then at the end of the day, you go, you know what? This movie has to be great, and it has to be super funny with funny comedic talents. And so then I went to a second list that I have, which is a very small list of who makes me laugh so hard I cry. And these 4 ladies were on that script. And when I kind of compared them, when like their energies are all different enough where they're not going to compete with each other and they're going to complement each other, then I settled on that. And I didn't even audition any of them. I didn't read them together. I just know their work, and I actually like the idea of kind of having them come together for the first time on camera, other than Chris and Melissa who had worked together before, but Kate and Leslie had never worked with the ladies, and I think that natural energy comes across.
Последнее, что я спрошу, прежде чем передать микрофон в зал, понятно, что продолжение нового сериала будет зависеть от того, насколько успешным будет этот фильм. Но вы для себя расцениваете как опцию возобновления работы над этим проектом?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, we'll wait and see how it does, because I would never be so presumptuous to think it will, you know, who knows how it will do. But I love this cast, I think they're amazing, and this world of Ghostbusters, this kind of Ghostbusters universe, is so rich. There's so many things you can do with it if you can figure out new ways in, or figure out how to continue it in a way that still has the character arcs. You know, because you never want this again to just be about kind of people running around shooting at ghosts. You need to have some emotional involvement in it. But I think it'd be really fun to have them busting ghosts in other cities and other countries. You know, there's such a rich history and love of ghosts worldwide that it would be fun to take advantage of. So the sky's the limit. I wanted to see how this one does first.
Вопросы есть? Кого-нибудь?
Yeah, I think it'd be really fun to do more sci-fi. Actually, the woman I was talking about who portrayed that first ghost is from a sci-fi series that I created and shot for Yahoo. That's been geo-blocked so far, but I hope you get to see it at some point. But I love genres. And especially since I work with women, funny women, it's really fun to put women into genres that they haven't really been allowed to have, you know, a lot of good roles in. Ironically, Sigourney had one of the best roles ever in a sci-fi movie, in Alien. But yeah, I'd love to work in that genre and many other genres. But I'm sorry, what was the second part of the question? Oh, yeah. No, you know what it was for me with the villain? I wasn't as interested in doing a story about some supernatural force like, you know, the gods or somebody had gotten mad at Earth and sent something down. It was more interesting to me, since this movie's about science and it's about human beings fighting the paranormal with science. I love the idea that the villain would be somebody, a human being, who would use science to actually create this situation. To me, that's a much more dangerous thing that I'm more scared of. I'm less scared of sort of the gods opening up the heavens and coming down as I am about one person with a terrible plan and what they can do if they know how to harness science to their benefit. And so, to me, it was just a way to kind of, you know, make it more relatable and also keep it in a science-based world, because I'm very much into science, and even though, you know, technology is very not real at the moment. The idea that you could, you know, figure out scientific ways to energize what I think ghosts are, which are the spirits of, or the energy of somebody who has died, and if that energy is around, and somebody figured out how to bring, you know, make it stronger, then maybe ghosts could come back. So that was just my thinking: is how can I put this through a scientific lens, possibly. They contacted me to do this. Other people most everybody who they had contacted, everybody had turned it down. And so when I got the energy to thinking about, well, it's such a great idea, I think this world should remain, I had to go, well, how can I most effectively tell this story? And for some reason, just the idea of 30 years later, the old team had been forgotten or they were around, and so, you know, it would just be two of the characters would kind of show up and then kind of tell this new team how to do it. I don't dramatically know how to do that, for lack of a better excuse. And so I wanted to figure out what's a story that could really invest a new generation in this idea of Ghostbusters. Because honestly, the original Ghostbusters, like I said earlier, is so much based on the guys who were in it. And so that suddenly if you are missing two of the guys, you know, two of the very main guys, the math gets a little off for me versus if I say, oh, I just established these new characters, let them come to life, let them introduce themselves to us in this new world that has never seen a ghost attack, that, you know, has not become jaded at the idea that the paranormal can you know, tie up a city. There's just more you can do with that dramatically and comedically, and then it allows a franchise to grow more organically. So again, I can't 100% defend it by saying like this was the only way to do it. It's just, I know when it came to me, I thought I figured out how to do it, and this was the way that I could do it as a filmmaker. And at the end of the day, as a filmmaker, you can only do what you have energy for, what you have the creative vision for. So I hope people will understand that when they see it, and hopefully they will just see the new one and kind of fall in love with it and realize that it doesn't step on the original one. The original one's always there. Those characters are always there, and almost by doing a new version and not a sequel, it's almost a way to not you know, possibly pollute the old ones. They exist on their own, and now here's a new one that has two separate things that you can enjoy at the same time, and then hopefully a new generation will really take ownership over both of them, but hopefully the new one. I'm not a believer in ghosts. I did, as a kid, I was very afraid of the ghosts and all that, but then I think to conquer that, I really started studying science and getting into that, and so that sort of overtook my fear of ghosts. But I love the idea of ghosts, and I hope they do exist. And to do Ghostbusters here in Russia, I mean, I know that I was just in Asia, and they have such an amazing, you know, history of, my God, there's so many ghosts there that they have in their culture. I'm not as up on the Russian take on ghosts.
У нас полная Красная площадь призраков. Мавзолей одни.
Well, then I'm coming here and doing the next Ghostbusters, that's it.
Кто еще хочет спросить? Пожалуйста.
It stopped working. I'm so sorry.
У нас снова проблемы с переводом.
Oh, here we go. Wait, he's back.
Is it working?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. My problem with what's happened in Hollywood and has been happening in Hollywood for a long time is women have been denied the really good leading roles in a lot of these big movies. I mean, in movies in general, but in a lot of big movies. I mean, you've got exceptions to that rule, like, you know, Jennifer Lawrence in The Hunger Games and the Divergent series and that kind of thing. But in general, especially in comedy, there just has not been the roles that can showcase the amazingly funny women that are in this business. If you look at a lot of these male-driven comedies, you'll see funny women cast in roles that aren't funny. And so they're just forced to be sort of the mean girlfriend or the mean wife, or, you know, and they're all just kind of, you know, a bother to the men. And that's a take on the world, and it's fine, and there's, you know, we've got plenty of those movies, but for me, knowing so many funny, talented women and seeing them not get to showcase how good they are is a crime to me. And so if I can provide these roles that will showcase to the world how funny female characters can be, and we can kind of stop this thing that is perpetuated by Hollywood, which is like, you know, men won't see movies with women in them. I mean, women go to see movies with men in them all the time. So, and if the women in the movie are so funny that guys go, they're hilarious, then that's great. They should show up. I mean, my movie Bridesmaids, guys, you know, it looked like a movie for women, and then guys were brought by their wives or girlfriends, and they ended up having an amazingly good time and laughed the whole way through. And I hope that kind of helped break down a little bit of going like, look, guys, don't be afraid just because you see women on a poster that it's going to be a movie just for women. And, you know, by putting women in a movie like Ghostbusters, which is, you know, traditionally such a male-driven film, and showing them off to be funny and letting them have action, but at the same time be real and be relatable. Yeah, I just think we need to get to a point where we have equality in the movies and have women playing as many roles as men, and you know, so it eventually becomes not an issue, and people will just cast the best people in the movie, whether they're male or female.